Hey everyone, I wanted to go over the new and exciting news that we have for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak on both the Nintendo Switch and on PC, and that's because what we're going to be talking about is essentially for the 5th free title update, and that is the fact that Capcom, kind of like out of nowhere and essentially as a mistake, went ahead and revealed a brand new feature that will be added for the next patch. But interestingly enough, someone overlooked it and decided to add it in the patch notes for the 4th free title update. So the developers had to basically make a quick clarification and state that yes indeed, this was an error, this was a mistake, this is not going to be part of the 4th free title update, which is already live in the game for PC, Steam, and the Nintendo Switch, and in fact, it will become available at a later date. Now that language is only specified in the Japanese post, which we'll be going over in a second, and then the North American one, they don't necessarily get into any details. So basically what took place here, and first I'm going to show you guys an image from the patch notes when I took my video going over the most recent patch notes, which were DLC version 14.00, that is the version that is live right now on Nintendo Switch and PC Steam. And in there you should be able to see a box, obviously a red letter box, which states that 2 armor augment types have been added to Curious Armor Crafting. Now, this was something that even in the patch notes, as I was going over them and kind of like voicing out things that I liked or I didn't necessarily like, this just seemed interesting, but I didn't necessarily know what to make of it because it's very vague. Even in the patch notes, they don't necessarily get into details as to what it could potentially be, how much beneficial it's going to be, what type of materials we're going to be looking at, or anything like that. Now let's remember, as of right now, curious crafting options are basically augment, which is just kind of like it gives you random skills. They could be positive, they could be negative. That is a curious option, crafting option that we had on by default. Then they went ahead and the most recent 3rd free title update, I believe, is when they added augment stability, which will always give you plus defense and plus resistances, I believe, or augment skills plus, which will only focus on trying to get rare skills onto your armor sets. Now a lot of people don't necessarily make use of skills plus because if you're most likely using a high rarity, level 10, level 9 piece of armor, it's going to try to take away one of the good skills on your armor already for one of the skills that you're rolling for. Obviously a lot of people have kind of like circumvented that and made sure that they go for a skill that they need and give up a skill that they don't necessarily want on that piece of armor, but the other skills that it has are good enough. So that is the way that people have kind of been getting around this system as of right now. And essentially what they're saying here is that they're going to be adding 2 more options. And based on the patch notes, that's what it seemed like, well, that was going to be the deal for the 4th free title update. But then this post came from their social media pages, both in English and in Japanese. So the first one in English just simply reads, "Heads ups, the follower's information on the patch notes is incorrect and not part of free title update number 4. And then in quotations, they put 2 armor augment types that have been added to Curious Armor Crafting, the same stuff that we just saw on the image that was part of the patch notes. This will be updated in the website shortly. Sorry for the confusion. Probably some buggy in the system, and they posted a picture of a buggy to essentially try to make some like meme about the situation that they basically screwed up. Now the Japanese post is a little bit more clear. In the translation, it simply says that there was an error in the updated data for version 14.00. In the information that we released yesterday. The description of 2 types of new curious crafting armor options being added in the training is incorrect, and the additional elements will not be implemented in version 14.0. They will be included in the future. We apologize for the inconvenience. The description of the official website will also be revised. So they're announcing that yes indeed, it was an error, they're going to fix it, but it will be coming back in the future, or it will just simply be part of the future. So the option for 2 more curious crafting options for armor in basically just the 5th free title update. The first major feature that we know is coming is 2 curious crafting options for your armor in the next patch. Now ultimately, what could they possibly be? We already have one, like I said, that is technically supposed to give you skills plus, so that is, it's seeking after high quality, rarity, high point value skills. If you don't necessarily know how curious crafting works, I'm sure most of you guys who are like watching this are end game hunters already, so I shouldn't get into the nitty gritty of it, but the simple version of it is every skill has a value and every armor piece has a value. So the higher rarity the skill, essentially the better the skill is, the more value it's got. Armor pieces also have a set value. The more rarity, I believe the higher value that they have, or lesser value, or something along those lines. So it basically means that the skills that you trade off are gonna have to be as equal or if not greater than the skills that you're gaining on a relatively high rarity piece of gear. However, lower pieces of armor have higher chances for you to be able to roll for good skills, and because you're not losing a skill, so all that extra cap of you not losing a skill can be used to obtain even more skills or augmenting slots. So basically another extra slot for the decorations that you're going to slot in. So it becomes a little bit more beneficial to have low rarity pieces of armor and roll for high quality skills. That used to be the case. But now, since people have farmed endless amounts of curious crafting material, they basically just go through the normal augment rolls. They don't necessarily deal with skills plus all that much. Obviously, the stability one is not necessarily all that beneficial until maybe now that we have resistances and defense armors for that. I believe the Risen Crimson Glove Ostrix armor is the one that gives you insane elemental values to be raised. So, or maybe Volcana one. No, Volcana is the Frost one. So definitely is Risen. And that armor potentially has really good benefits from resistances. So maybe if you raise your resistances more, you get more attack and that kind of a thing. So we're not necessarily sure what the extra skills that they could be adding in here, the extra crafting options. Maybe it would be to get, easier rarity skills, but then you choose what it is that you wish to sacrifice. So maybe this armor piece has 3 skills that I want, and maybe a decoration slot that I'm willing to sacrifice for, the one really good skill through curious crafting. Maybe it's going to be something like that. Another suggestion that I've seen is just maybe let you roll for extra deco slots. So you're going to get for more deco slots, maybe perfect rolls. Those are usually considered perfect rolls because you want more decoration slots, especially as more decorations for more rarity skills have become available, and you're still going to lose a quality skill, but most likely a skill that you don't want if you're using a piece of armor that has skills that you don't necessarily want. High value skills that you don't want, decent to mid-tier to low skills that you might want to use, and willing to keep those for sacrificing the good one for a deco slot. That is some ideas that I've seen tossed around. We don't necessarily know. I will be talking about the information found in the game's files as of basically this patch went live at a future date. There's a lot of questions as of what it is that's going on, especially with Malzeno. I'll have a separate video that I wanted to release before we even get to that, because Malzeno is looking like the new Malzeno, that is, if you don't necessarily know. There's going to be a new Malzeno, and that dude looks to be insane. That thing is probably going to be the toughest monster in the game until Amatsu shows up. So that is where we are with all of that. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.